Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kobold Chats. My name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer. I use they, he pronouns, and welcome back to another fine Friday. Yes, it's Friday. Sometimes I forget my days, and, that's fine. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. We've all been working. We've all been doing all of that good, great stuff that we do need to be doing. And I hope this Friday is treating you well. I hope this, middle of our day, you're doing lunch, you're doing, whatever. If you're just hanging at home, also fine. I'm not going to tell your boss. It's cool. I'm not a snitch. All right. But hey, I hope you all are doing well. We've got some good stuff in store for today. We have an interview with one of our Kobold creators. If you all remember, right? Earlier this year, we had our Kobold Creators program where we had a bunch, we had I want to say 40, 50 creators send in their pitches of projects that they wanted to do with Tales of the Valiant. And in return, we gave them a scholarship, or a grant, I suppose, to help them make those projects possible. And so today I am here with Trevor, Gemma of QuestKeep to talk about their project, which dropped this week over on their Instagram, on their TikTok, YouTube Shorts, whatever, all that good short form places, to talk about their honestly super cool stuff. So I think we're just gonna get right into it. So let's go over to that. How's it going, Trevor?
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Glad to be here.
I'm glad to be here as well. It's super cool to talk to you after. We've kind of been going along the process together of what's been going on. So I'm excited to be able to actually talk to you about it now that it's out.
When was the announcement of Kobold? It feels forever that Kobold creates something is that May? Was it May?
I think it was like spring. Whenever it was spring at some point.
That makes sense.
And it was and it like this.
Oh, it was Kobold Con.
Oh, you're so right. It was Kobold Con because we announced it at Kobold Con, which was late spring, early summer, June. Time is fake.
Somewhere in there. Yeah, it's all soup.
It's all soup. Trevor, for people who don't know you, just let the people know who you are, what you do.
Word. Hi, I am Trevor Gemma. I'm also known as Grave Mortem. You can see my name in the chat there. And I am the programming director at QuestKeep, which is the gaming division of Quest Coast Studios. So we're in Vancouver, BC. We are a film production company, which is why if you look at Tango Mechanist for Hire, you can be like, whoa, these are tabletop people? And it's like, yeah, we have very talented people on our team in various departments, from set deck and costumes to hair and makeup and cinema, editing, all of the things that go into an independent film studio. So I know a lot of the people in the chat right now from Gin 17's stream came in. Gin 17 actually co-wrote Tango. We wrote that together. So that's Alen Williams, who is part of our team. And you'll see Alen and myself in a lot of our social stuff and at the table. Tango was played by Ruzilla, who's also in the chat there, who is our DM but also our CEO. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we are a little nerdy film collective in Vancouver, BC. And I am an actor, lighting technician, writer, producer, all those things. So, and a tabletop enthusiast.
And a tabletop. The most important thing, a tabletop enthusiast. That's so cool. Hearing that you all come from a variety of backgrounds within the production space makes so much sense. Because one of the things that drew me to you all is as far as me being one of the judges who chose the stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is you all just have such high quality production for both your actual play content and then also your short form content. It is so obvious the amount of work and skill that goes into making it. And so I'm interested, what brought you all together? What was the start of QuestKeep and
so
studios?
It started 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Uh,
Time is
whew,
fake.
pre-pandemic, so it's like
Time is definitely
it was
fake, sir.
yesterday and it was another life. But we started a company. It was originally me and a writing partner of mine, that we had just finished writing a television series, that like it wasn't for anyone at that time,
Hmm.
and we were in that moment thinking, should we pitch this or should we just shoot this? Which is hilarious because we ended up not shooting that script at all. Um, but we started looking into, should we just maybe make a go at like creating this for YouTube and staying completely independent. And then we started pulling on some of the connections we'd made along the way and the people that we love working with. And then it was okay, if we're going to make a YouTube network, what is that going to be? And we just started coming up with a bunch of different ideas. And at the time, at that moment in time, which is why it's like vaguely 6 years ago, Critical Role was actually doing their Kickstarter for um, Vox Machina
Hmm.
and what would become that. And I was like, okay, there is a very dedicated fan base to D&D and TTRPGs that want the content. They want something different and new with it. And they're like, if you look at even their view counts at the time and their subscriber base at the time, the dollar per viewer was way higher. And I was like, this is a market we should aim for. It makes a lot of sense, and it's starved for content that like elevates something that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, as a bunch of people who work in film in Vancouver, what can we bring to the table that will elevate that overall?
Hmm.
And that led to there's a I'm gonna hyphenate this a bit, but that led to our first major project, which was a show called Ready to Roll, where the concept of it, which is available on YouTube, season one of that, but COVID cut it short because the concept was supposed to be we play the game,
Hmm.
and per every episode, we do full scale fantasy live reenactments of what happens at the table. So we take the collective imagination of everyone at the table and we bring it fully to life. And we shot all of season one, which is actually the episodes are also condensed.
Hmm.
So it was something that we were looking at and saying we should not appeal to the long form, because the attention span of your average viewer is not that long. So if
Yeah.
we're trying to bridge the gap of TV and movie viewers, we need to shorten the episode length. So we were looking at like hour-long episodes where you'd have about 10 to 15 minutes of that where it just cuts seamlessly from people talking at the table into here's what the characters are actually doing.
Ah, that's so
So
cool.
so so we would lip sync along to what happened at the table. So the gameplay is canon and basically becomes the script. That sounds easier than it is because have to
Yeah.
you have to go in and you have to script every little and like every little
Yeah.
stammer or anything that comes out of people's mouths. Sometimes you go back and look at a transcript of what you said, and you're like, "Oh my God, what the hell is wrong with me?" But finding the moments to do that, and we were actually in the midst of uh, filming the reenactments. We were doing it in block shooting based on locations that happened in the game,
Hmm.
and we so at that point when we go from even just the set for the gameplay was incredibly elaborate. It's like a castle tower. We have camera movement because like instead of just the static actual play, here's camera, camera, camera.
Yeah.
We had multiple camera people on bent rails that we had to get custom bent, running around the outside, shooting through windows that were built into the set. And then we had robot cameras up in the air catching like wide angles. But we had a construction team, a set deck team build that. We had custom props, and meanwhile, in the background, our characters are being designed by our costumes and hair, makeup, and visual effects teams. And
Hmm.
it was a huge production. And then, right as we were finishing our first block of reenactment shooting, there was this virus that popped up that everyone started
Whoa.
hearing about. So, in the end, we ended up having to cut that dream a little short. So we released the gameplay as just really high production value tabletop gameplay.
Yeah.
And there's two vignettes available on our YouTube. We do have another one that's basically finished that we've never released. But you can watch those and you can see what the original concept of it was. But we were also doing a bunch of other programming. And in the end, we still had this huge collective of really high quality film professionals working together. And over time, we've now sort of revamped our goal and become like a studio that's available for hire to make commercials and stuff like that for other people. And that's Quest Coast Studios. And QuestKeep, we just are keeping that world alive because the world that we play in and where Tango now lives is actually a homebrew world called Altero, and that's where that original show came from or lived in. Is a homebrew world created by Roz and her partner Matt, who's also one of the players at the table. Who are That's also a really fun story, just them as people being scientists. They actually were like they're incredibly smart, like a microbiologist. And Rue, correct me if I'm wrong. What are you, a chemist?
I love scientists getting into.
Yeah, who then
That's so
like
good.
had careers in the scientific field and then were always passionate storytellers and just like picked up their lives, completely changed it and got into film. And in that process also got involved in playing D&D, and then they created their own homebrew world, and that world is incredibly well informed by their scientific knowledge. So yeah, that's its own thing. We're still moving along with everything in Altero. We're actually currently now doing our longest form campaign in that world and fleshing that out. So there's going to be a lot more Altero content coming.
That's so cool.
What was the question?
Well, I mean, you basically answered it, right? Like how you all got your start. That's super interesting. Like I also I got my start in film. I went to film school
nice.
and like created and that's how it's really interesting how a lot of film people around the pandemic ended up getting into streaming.
Yeah.
It was like, maybe I A, don't want to work with the studio. Also, B, I can't really be around people right now. How do we make this up? And so it's super interesting, like seeing like how grand this idea was tragically cut short due to a pandemic, right? And this virus, but you all still were able to like come out of it with this really well crafted, highly refined, amazingly produced piece of work that has still like pushed you years after. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a weird, long, elongated dream that you constantly kind of doubt. Is this really what's going on in life?
Yeah, right.
Did I die 5 years ago?
Right? How did I end up here? This isn't like in my wildest dream. This wasn't what I would be doing, but hey, here I am. Yeah, that's so cool. For everybody from QuestKeep, I just put links to the YouTube, to their YouTube, in all the chats. If you want to go check out their stuff, please go do that. But right now, we are going to talk about very specifically your Kobold Creates project, which actually we can go watch. Come on,
Yeah, let's do it.
Other screen. All right, so this is what was the name of this character? You just said it.
Tango.
Tango. All right,
Yeah.
everybody, let's see what Tango's all about. Come on, you can do this. There we go.
Like a nail, but with my handy shard of creation, I have the right
Hold
tool.
on. I just realized I didn't have the sound turned on for it, so we're going to start that over. Here we go.
Hey, looking for a mechanist to join your Valiant adventurers? Call Tango, your mechanist. When all you got are hammers, every problem looks like a nail. But with my handy shard of creation, I have the right tool for every situation. Like a hammer. Anything you need, you got it. Need a quick escape from a gang of angry kobolds? You got it. Need a boost to your AC? You got it. Not only can I create stuff, but I can also make mundane items magical through the power of augmentation, including The adhesive augment. The phosphorescent augment. The returning augment. Find a mechanist like me in Kobold Press's Tales of the Valiant and start your adventure today.
Mechanists are available in Metallurgist or Spellwright subclasses. Mechanists are not responsible for damages and lasting vulnerabilities caused by the
Custom making
or other abilities that alter the very fabric of reality. Please use caution when employing a mechanist in your party.
Hey! Looking for a mechanist to join?
Okay, that I
loop.
Some
Such a good loop.
Great loop. Something about her pulling out the shield and just like the bundle of arrows being thrown is so funny to me.
Well, that was something that in our original submission for Kobold Creates, I said something like, just as a little example of what they could do with the Shard of Creation. When I read about that, I was like, they have is a volley of arrows coming at you. Now you have a shield suddenly. And I was like, we should put that in there, but make it really cheesy.
Sorry, go for it.
No, go for it. Go.
No, I was going like the 90s like corny like PSA or like infomercial vibe of it is just like you all nailed that in my mind.
Thank you. That was there's a project that we've been working on. We've been building out our resume with just some like examples of work for Quest Coast. So for like here's this different variety of things we can do, and doing some like basically false commercials, just to show people a body of work in that regard of things that we haven't done from our previous things. And one of the ones that we're doing is a commercial for an energy drink called StarQuest Energy, and it is a nod to like Japanese Sentai shows and Power Rangers and that kind of a thing. So we're having a ton of fun with how the style of that was, and that might have been an influence on like where we were at head-wise, looking at a lot of 90s content. And when we decided how to do this thing, it was like, okay, we want to get as much information across as possible in like a short period of time. So we don't want to just be like talking about the class as like, hey, have you checked out the Mechanist class? Here's all the features, like an option, but it's way more fun to have it demonstrated and to have someone who can do that stuff talk about themselves. Either you're going to end up going somewhere where they're kind of broody and mysterious and displaying their stuff, or but Tango is a character that first was we did a limited series called Dragonlance. Well, not called Dragonlance. It's in the Dragonlance when that came out. We did a limited 4-part series, and Tango was a character in that as a gnome artificer. And I was a druid named Wayrith, and they were best friends, and she was a little chaotic gnome. And then she has since been ported into our long form campaign, and she's just this mischievous little gnome who loves tinkering with things. And when we saw the Mechanist class, first of all, whenever there's a new be it a module or a supplemental material or anything like that, I personally haven't DM'd anything yet. I probably will, but I'm a PC.
You're a forever player on that
so
end
far.
of the spectrum.
So far. But whenever I'm looking at new worlds, one of the first things I'm drawn to is there a new species I can play, or is there a new class or subclass? And that's what I looked at with Tales of the Valiant immediately. I was like, what do we got? Mechanist. And you had released a bunch of the stuff through Kobold before Tales of the Valiant was even out, like a lot of the details of the Mechanist. And I love seeing new ways to inform the way that someone can create a character, because character creation is such a common question among players of what's your inspiration for a character. And when it comes to a new class, I'll go class first, or a new subclass, and then it's like backwards engineering of what can they do, why can they do that, who is this character, and then I'll go from there. And this was such an easy port for us instead of having to come up with somebody like, whoa, this is Tango.
This is just we've
we
already got her.
we know this character, and because of who she is, and like that really high pitched little gnome voice that Roz does, it's perfect for someone who's gonna be on one of those like TV infomercials that's doing really cheesy showcases and bad transitions. It's also a really fun and unique challenge when you have people who are uh, practiced at making things look really good to then
like
get them
have
to
to
intentionally make it look cheesy and bad. They're
Mhm.
like, wait, but that's not gonna, trust me, it'll work.
It'll work.
Like,
You just gotta believe it looks wrong because it should be.
like it was leaning into a lot of old things, like with the returning augment, the
Like it
the
just,
film it, and then that's where the take ends, and now we're just going to play it in reverse. And
Mhm.
I was directing this piece as well, and getting Roz to make sure that her thumbs up wasn't like, it wasn't smooth.
doing.
Like I want
Mhm.
you to unnaturally raise your, like you're going to start here, so she actually lowered her thumb, and you don't see that part of the take until
Mhm.
the end of the take once it's in reverse. But then it has that really unnatural like look to it. I love the way the thumb comes up in there.
It's so good. It's you all did an amazing job making this feel very, very cheesy while also looking really, really good while doing it.
Well, and then the Visifex element, like the shard of creation,
Yes.
for that to be such a weird contrast of like this is all like a lot of practical things. It's actually arrows they're getting thrown at a shield,
Mhm.
and a real rope and all that stuff. But then
The
to
cut,
have
the
an
slight
element
cut.
of magic.
The slight
Oh, the
cut,
jump cuts.
the jump cut from like, oh, we've thrown the thing up there, now we need a rope to come down, is just like, it's those small details that really, really make this pop, I think.
The shard of creation itself and the transition into the hammer
Hmm.
were elements that it was actually our camera guys have taken on themselves, an opportunity for them to learn and develop new skills. But Owen and Silas have taken the opportunity to learn Blender, so they've been teaching themselves how to use Blender. And they created but as we were in the writing phase, we're like, would you be able to do something like this? And they were like, yeah, totally. I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
Easy.
So that's actually self-taught, not their main field of expertise, but they have really gotten good at it really fast.
Hmm.
They created that hammer. They created the animations for the shard floating above her hand and everything. And it's really funny to watch it and know like all the elements, because when Tango puts her hand up and the shard pops up on the actual day, there's obviously nothing there, and there's a purple light that's motivated that's on her face, and it's actually
Hmm.
Silas who's doing cam mopping, but he knows he also knows, oh, we're going to be building that thing on her face. She needs to have light from it.
Hmm.
So he grabbed a little light and was running off. And it's like, this is going to need to be here. And he's shining the light onto her face, and then knows that when it goes up, it's gone. So he pulls it away. And it's like little details like that that no one would know. But it builds out that effect so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here,
I love the contrast of that effect.
yeah. Hearing you talk about the production of this just makes me miss being on set. Truly.
Oh.
It just makes me miss being on set. Um, yeah, no, that's, and I think another part of this is like, she, there's this like subtle malice that is like going through, which I think hits, like as you were saying, like hits so perfectly for the Mechanist, because for anyone who's saying, like, the Mechanist is not a spellcasting class. They are an upfront like fighting person. Like, they are there to do damage, get tools, weapons, utility, and use everything that they can to get you through combat, get you through whatever encounter that you're going through. So that ending part of just like the slow zoom and
Yeah.
like it's perfect. You nailed what I imagine a Mechanist would be.
Well, and there was a really happy, like we had an idea of the text that comes over talk, the fast disclaimer talk at the end.
Yeah.
We had an idea of what that was. We actually had to revamp it for the timing of the push-in shot and the
Yeah.
pullback. And we definitely wanted to build in the Curse of Unmaking. We knew that had to be in there because that's just such a really cool feature as part of a melee class that they can use that ability to like really create some vulnerabilities in their enemies. Like that's powerful if used properly. But it's also creepy because it's the curse. So it's like we got to have a real creepy undertone to her here at the end. Why is she not available? That goes into backstory. Why is she not part of a party?
Yeah.
Why is she available for hire?
Yeah.
Because it's a risk. It's a risk to have her in your party.
It's a risk, you know, and sometimes it's a risk worth taking if you really need someone unmade. As long as it's not you. As long as it's not you.
But there's a moment that hits perfectly during Curse of Unmaking when that part is said. There's a shift in Roz's expression that like she's doing the shift to creepy smile, and there's a sudden intensity to the smile and the look in her eyes that happens right at that moment that wasn't planned for. Actually happened in the edit process of like moving things around, doing the voice recording for the disclaimer, and it was a bit of a like, ooh, that worked, that timing's perfect, and then let's embellish it. So then our editor Kenny actually all I asked for was a different font for Curse of Unmaking, but he went in and made it shake and added the like full frame of like red light for a second, and I was like, oh yeah, like that's something that's really fun is the collaboration amongst our team.
Yeah,
because you'll have an idea, but taking it from the pen to the screen is it's super fun process where there's all these creative people who have different moments of input, and they're going to embellish it and bring their creativity and their power to it and elevate it to another level. And time and again, I'm amazed by our team and what they can pull off, and it's super fun. And it's like a continuation of the collaboration of just tabletop in general. Like the fact that it is collaborative storytelling is something that we love, and a lot of us are writers, and there's only so much you can do yourself with the story. You'll get it to where you find it really satisfying, but when you start bouncing around things with other people and you're really working to tell a story together, it's often so surprising where you'll end up going, and you're going to get something so much more rewarding than what you might have come up with by yourself. So I love that a lot.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So true. As also for everybody in all the chats, if you have any questions you would like to ask Trevor about QuestKeep, about this video, about anything, please feel free to throw them in the chats, and we'll try to get to them. I wonder. Oh wait, I see someone typing. Hold on. I'm gonna let them. We need Subtle Malice on a t-shirt. I would get that t-shirt. I would get a Subtle Malice t-shirt.
Yeah, totally, we could do that.
Yeah. Rue says being on set is mashing together the best rewarding creative challenges with super stressed moments. Yeah.
The pressure of we're running out of time. We're behind.
We said we were gonna be out by this time. We have to be out, gang. For a long time, I had a really hard time with collaboration within my department, but my dear homie Chris taught me the way. Forever appreciate it.
Oh, Crash is our costume designer. It's actually about to move on to another project, so it's a bittersweet week for us, but Crash got a really cool opportunity to go work on something very cool. So we wish her all the best in that regard. But we are going to dearly miss her.
Yeah. I assume that she designed the costume for
Tango, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Crash, but I believe the process for Tango was a bit of a collaboration between you and Roz, in that there's not a lot of these pieces were built specifically for Tango. When we did Tango, it was like modification more than it was build from the ground up.
Understand.
Because that was for Dragonlance, as opposed to when you look at like the ready to roll characters, and those were fully from concept to pattern drafting to sourcing materials, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Tango's put together from random pieces that we just had laying around, true mechanist style.
True mechanist style, finding what you've got and making it useful.
Pop out of thin air.
Yeah. What if you all had to give Tango a subclass? Which one would you give her?
Ooh, probably Spellwright over Metallurgist, I would say.
Okay.
I would think. What would you? I mean, but we have Tango.
Oh yeah, we've got Tango in chat.
Roz, between Aladdin knows as well. June 17 says Spellwright.
Spellwright. Okay. Okay.
We both think that's probably the way. Although I could see her also going Metallurgist, just knowing the kind of tankiness of it.
Mm-hmm.
She might want to. She might jump into that. Oh. Hey, Vancouver by night.
Tango, the character outfit was put together from pieces. I'm guessing Roz was fully assembled.
No, Roz is still a work in progress.
Aren't we all?
Rivet made of metal. Sorry, Rivet is Tango's familiar pet. What is Rivet? Rivet's a little metal dragon. But you didn't see Rivet wasn't in this short.
I don't believe so.
We kept Rivet out of it.
I think
it didn't make sense.
I think if I had seen a little metal dragon, I would have remembered that one. Wait, do you have like a
construct familiar? The version that we have is actually a stuffed animal.
Okay.
That was handmade by Roz's sister and sent it in. Found out that it was a part of the character when Tango first showed up and was being made. And but we also have a really cool example of that. If you look up an Instagram account called figments.scarecross, we just recently got some fan art from our community, and it's incredibly good. You know what? I can really quickly find you the fan art of Tango.
Yeah, no, send it to me and I'll put it up on screen for us.
I'm talking. So there is a piece done of Tango because the artist wanted to did one of all the player characters from Altero Eat Slay Love, but wanted to do one for the DM and chose Tango. Mm-hmm. And Tango looks incredible, and she did include Rivet. So there is a little metal dragon. So there you go. There's the image in our Discord. Chat.
Oh, this is so good. Hold on. Yeah, let me open this. Can I? Let's open link here. I'm gonna toss it over.
Yeah, it would be amazing to have a little metal Tango, or not Tango. Sorry, Rivet.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Hold on. I gotta get it to the right size. That's okay. Hold on. All right. Hold on.
Oh, it's OBS doing that weird side thing where you pull on one side and it makes the other one smaller. I've had that problem.
OBS, come on.
It happens to everybody.
We're trying to do a show here, OBS. What are you doing? Come on, we gotta. Okay, there we go.
Well, while you're sorting that out, I'm gonna say how much I personally and we at QuestKeep appreciate what Kobold Press has done with Kobold Creates, as people might not know out there, but unless you're one of the big players in the TTRPG like actual play and independent creator space, there's not a ton of funding readily available for people out there, and there's a lot of creators and the access to any kind of stuff. It's still a very emerging space, so the importance of something like a sponsorship program from Kobold Press or anyone who has the means to do that and support other creatives in the same community is amazing. It's an incredible endeavor that you guys have done, and I thank you so much for supporting other creators. And the importance of it it's huge. It's something we aspire to do ourselves as well.
Thank you
for leading the way.
Hey, of course. I before I started working here at Kobold Press, I too TTRPG content creator, actual play, yada yada yada, and it was one of the biggest things. Like Kobold Press, just in general, has always been very community focused. We don't exist without our community, and like part of that is helping, like, it's, yeah, supporting all the people who like buy books and play games at home, but it's also supporting the people who put so much work, blood, sweat, and tears making things that they're passionate about for the community as well. And so, like, it only makes sense, right, to support the people out there in the fields making the content that, I mean, hey, if you all like Tales of the Valiant so much that you want to make content for it, why wouldn't we want to support that? Why wouldn't we want to, you know, help make that happen? Because it only helps us, but it helps me. The more people out there making things, inspiring other people to go and make things. Like, I wouldn't be here if there weren't other people making actual plays that got me further into wanting to play the games, to the point where I also wanted to make my own stuff. Like, it's a cycle of inspiration. And so
it is. That's, I like that. A cycle of inspiration.
Right.
I like that a lot.
We make things to inspire other people to make things that will inspire other people to make things, or even just inspire them to play games in their own homes. Make characters that make them feel like, oh, I watched this video of Tango, I want to make a mechanist that feels like that is... It's just this wonderful cycle that feeds on itself when communities help and support each other. And so it's a huge thing for us to want to, like, to be able to help creators make things and make stuff around Tales of the Valiant, Kobold Press, whatever. It doesn't matter, because regardless of what it is, it just makes the community better as a whole. So
hell yeah,
I appreciate that.
There's one of our sort of values pillars is elevating tabletop at QuestKeep. And we also have sort of a rally cry of come play with us, because we have some unique skill sets and access to them that we know a lot of people in this space don't have. So situations like this allow us to then take your IP and turn it into something that we can lend a production value to it that most people can't do. So we love being able to not only elevate our own game and what we're doing in the content that we're creating, but finding chances to get to do that for other creators in the space. So yeah, it just works really well together.
Yeah, it just works really well together.
Hell yeah.
And I'm so happy that we were able to help you all make this video, because I love it, and I think other people do as well. When's the is there any other projects that you all have coming out that you want to give like a quick shout out for, things that people can be looking for? I'm gonna bring us over to the more intimate, more personal.
Okay.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, we are. So we actually just had a bit of a hiatus in our long form campaign to facilitate some people taking a couple vacations. But we're coming back on Tuesday, episode 37. So we're jumping back into our long form campaign of Altero Eat Slay Love. But what we've been doing in the meantime is Jin17, who's in the chat, came up with an idea for something that he wanted to do in that interim. So for the past month and a bit, we've been doing a charity stream. So we have a charity portal open through Extra Life. We're raising money for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals, and we are building a Colossus dungeon. So a Warforged Colossus from Eberron. So in the end, it's going to be scale for miniatures about the size of a human being, like an average human, and the rough shape of. So Alen is building that from scratch while we're raising money. We've been doing that on Tuesdays from noon to 6 Pacific Standard Time, and or Pacific Daylight Time, whatever. I still don't get those two. So he's been doing that, and while we've been raising that, the incentives that you can do is Alen is also a wizard with Hero Forge, and really, really good at making figures in Hero Forge. So the incentives for people to donate are on our portal, and you can design a robot live on stream with Alen. We'll switch over to Hero Forge, and we'll create whatever you want that Warforge to be, because it does. That's the one caveat, is it is a Warforge, because it's going to become we're going to 3D print them and paint them, and they become the crew of the Warforged Colossus. So you can get yourself in there. You can really get yourself in there because the higher incentive is the Make Me a Robot, where you can send in pictures of your face, and Alen will use those pictures to put your face on a Warforged. Uh,
That's so good. That's
so
so
we're
good.
having fun with that. And that will continue on Tuesdays until we're done building that dungeon. So
Nice.
we've already raised over $1,000 for Extra Life. We've had to we had that was our initial goal.
Hmm.
But there's been so many donations of those incentives that we haven't made a lot of progress in the dungeon. So we're going to
Yeah, that happens.
continue doing them on Tuesdays until we finish that thing, and then basically at the end of that stream is when we'll premiere the new episodes of Altero. So from noon till basically 8:30, we'll be streaming on Twitch next Tuesday. We do Wednesdays our community nights. Thursdays we're playing Baldur's Gate 3, where we've taken our characters from our homebrew world and we've ported them into Baldur's Gate, and we're role playing as if we got sucked into Faerun out of our homebrew world of Altero. We're having a really good time with that. Otherwise, we stream ourselves. I stream as Grave Mortem. I stream typically Fridays and Mondays. Jin17 does Hero Forge streaming Friday mornings now. He's just starting out. Tangible Audio is Matt. He streams on the weekends. Ruzella streams intermittently. Uh, yeah,
You got a lot of
we're
stuff. You got a lot of stuff going on
got a
over
lot going
there.
on. Got a lot going on.
We've got a quick question. The series that you were talking about earlier, is that going to be
Mhm.
D&D 5e or is it going to be Tales of the Valiant?
Oh, for which one? For
Uh,
Altero?
I believe that was the question. Hey, no
Oh, okay.
one. Was that?
Altero,
Yeah.
we're playing in 5e.
Okay.
Yeah,
Understood.
we started it a year ago, and we are 36 episodes deep.
Whew.
So yeah, so that's the that's in 5e. I guess the current question is where's that gonna go? Or we haven't answered the question of are we going to move into the new 2024 rule book, or are we going to switch into a different system? Well, one of the unique things about Altero, actually,
Hmm.
that Matt and Roz created is that there are portals to another plane of existence. So we technically play in the world of
Ooh.
Altero Not, and there is another world that's more
Oh,
technologically advanced called Altero Prime,
oh.
um,
Well,
which would have a system associated with it. So
well,
there's
I
that
don't
whole
know
thing.
if you all know about the Labyrinth WORLDBOOK that we're putting out. That is all about plane hopping. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
I'm just saying. If you are looking to once
I'm
you start,
interested.
hey, we can. Hey, you know how to reach me. We can talk. So, but thank you so much, Trevor, for being here, and thank you all so much for listening. Please go check out QuestKeep stuff. I'm going to throw the YouTube link in the chat as well. All again, and you can find you all are QuestKeep everywhere on the internet.
We're
Is that
QuestKeep everywhere. We used to be Questline,
Mm-hmm.
and then some places it was Questline, some places it was Questline D&D.
Mm-hmm.
We had to switch it up because we needed it to be uniform across platforms. So people were like, the only place we're not QuestKeep is our website is actually ttrpg.ca. So we managed to get
You got
that, and
T.
we were like,
You got TT. You got TTRPG.
yep.
That's wild. I
Yeah.
need you to know that's wild.
That's what we thought. It was just available. We've only had that for a while. But yeah, ttrpg.ca is our website. It's where you can get our merch and stuff. If you want to know more about QuestKeep or Tango or any of those things, I will likely be streaming later tonight on my Twitch stream on Grave Mortem. So yeah,
Amazing.
happy to talk more. As you can see, I can talk a lot.
Hey,
Uh,
it makes interviews really easy, strangely. But yes, thank you so much for being here, Trevor. It has been it's been wonderful talking to you, wonderful
yeah,
watching your
man,
thing.
thanks
And
for having me.
yeah, of course. I'm super excited to see what you all come out with next. And thank you all so much for being here as well. It's been another wonderful day here at Kobold Chats. And we will see you all next week, same time, same channel. And let's see, do I have anything else? Yes. No, that's it. So don't forget to go out, eat enough food, drink enough water, get enough sleep, and take care of yourself, because self-care is very important, especially in the time we're living in right now. And don't forget to love yourself and everyone around you. And we'll see you next week. Bye.